According to American Cancer Society's article, Understanding Radiation Risk from Imaging Tests, a single chest x-ray exposes a patient to about 0.1 MSV. This is about the same amount of radiation people are exposed to naturally over a course of 10 days. The purpose of my speech is to inform my audience about contributions of radiation exposure in the United States. I'm currently enrolled in the Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College's Radiologic Technologist program, and I will use my knowledge from studying radiation exposure when delivering my speech to you today. When learning this topic for the first time last summer, I was shocked to find out how much radiation people are exposed to and have no idea about it. Being that a majority of the population has minimal knowledge of how often individuals come in contact with x-rays, today I'm going to talk about medical, background, and consumer/occupational exposure each year in the United States. First, I'm going to talk about the types of medical radiation. There are 4 types of medical radiation: computed tomography, nuclear med, interventional fluoroscopy, and conventional radiography. CT and nuc med make up a whopping 36% of the average radiation exposure, while interventional fluoroscopy and conventional radiography make up an additional 12%. In order to help my audience fully grasp how much radiation that is, in the article Understanding Radiation Risk from Imaging Tests, the American Cancer Society explains that a simple CT scan of your abdomen is equal to 1,000 days at the beach or a consecutive 2.7 years. CT scans often take only a few minutes, but the amount of radiation is significant. CT scans are important because they allow the doctor to view the inside of your body, almost like a loaf of sliced bread. Although they are effective, they are often overordered because of how quick they are. And then before moving on, I want to show you the dosimeters that we use. I have one for school and one for work. This is how they get the NCRP 160 report that I'm going to go over today in my lecture. It helps each tech wears one, or radiologist, and they calculate the amount of CT scans you've done, and that's that exposure, and then x-ray, and then MRI. It's all different. Moving on to the types of, or out of the types of medical radiation and the percentages, next I'm going to talk about background radiation. There are 5 types of background radiation, and they're radon, thoron, space, terrestrial, and internal. In Bolus's Journal of Nuclear Medicine Technology, it is stated that radon and thoron are gases found in the Earth's atmosphere and make up the largest percentage of the average yearly exposure at 37%. Space, terrestrial, and internal altogether make up a collective 15% of the yearly total. In the CDC's radiation studies, it explains that every time astronauts travel to outer space, it puts another hole into the Earth's ozone layer. This contributes to increased terrestrial radiation, space radiation, and global warming. Now that I've covered medical and background radiation, I'm going to review the smaller percentages on the spectrum, which are consumer and occupational radiation. They make up a combined total of less than 2.1% of the average yearly total. Some examples of consumer radiation include camera lenses, cat litter, smoke detectors, clocks, watches, phones, which everyone was scared of. In conclusion, today I have shared with you the many different types of yearly exposure. I went over medical, background, and consumer/occupational exposure over each year in the United States. I hope today that I've informed you and expanded your knowledge on the amount of radiation you are exposed to. Rosalie Bartel said, "There is no safe level of exposure to ionizing radiation, and the search of quantifying such a safe level is in vain." Thank you.